Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our 11th contest of the evening is in the Fight UK featherweight division, fought under 145 pounds.
Here I am with Karsten Lenjoint. Karsten is training out of his own academy, Archer MMA. Karsten is a veteran, not only of Fight UK, but of many, many promotions, including The Ultimate Fighter. And he's also a very promising up-and-coming tattooist and has one of the most amazing beards we've ever seen. So Karsten, obviously we've known each other for a while. I've been following your career. You're doing really well at the moment. How's training been going for you?
Training's been going really well. I had a bit of a break after my last fight. Unfortunately, I fractured my cheekbone and had to have a bit of operation, but it actually did me some good, you know, rest as good as a holiday and stuff. So, but we got back on this fight camp and everything's gone really well. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, obviously the guy that you're fighting's from the Dinky Ninjas, comes from a very, very good camp. He's a solid background, and he's undefeated. How have you prepared for this particular guy?
Don't know a lot about him, to be honest. He hasn't fought for a few years. It's been really hard to find bits and bobs on him, so I'm kind of going to it a little bit blind. But like you said, he comes from Dinky Ninjas. They've got an absolute brilliant team up there, you know, Paul McVeigh, Graham Turner, James Doolan, Dean Riley, you know, goes on. Rob Whiteford just got in the UFC, so they've got an awesome team up there. He's going to be quality, so I'm not taking anything for granted. He's going to be tough. I just want a really good fight, and I'm sure I'll get it.
Here I am with Doni Miller. Doni trains out of the Dinky Ninjas in Glasgow, and tonight he's fighting Karsten Lenjoint in one of our pro fights. Doni, how you feeling today, mate?
I feel great. Everything went good after weigh-in. I'm confident and I'm here to put on a good show.
Excellent. Well, look, anybody who's seen anything to do with UK MMA knows the Dinky Ninjas.
Yep.
You've got some fantastic guys training up there. You've got obviously the likes of Paul McVeigh, James Doolan, etc. Some of the top guys in the country. I'm sure they put you through your faces in training and sparring, yeah?
Sparring's always top notch. This level of sparring up at the Grip House is the best in the UK because we've got all the smaller fighters, flyweights, bantamweights and featherweights, and they're all top ranked, so training couldn't have been better.
Excellent. Well, obviously Karsten brings a very good reputation and a very good record himself. Have you had any particular special preparation for this fight?
I've never got any specific preparation for any fighter. He's good at things and I'm good at things, but I'm better. He's well rounded, I'm better. That's it.
Excellent.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, introducing these fighters properly. Fighting out of the blue corner, he hails from Nottingham. He's 32 years old, stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighed in at 144 pounds. He fights out of Archer MMA and has a mixed martial arts record of 11 contests, 7 wins and 4 losses. Let's hear it for Karsten, the Archer Lenjoint. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, he hails from Glasgow. He's 24 years old, stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighed in at 145 pounds. He fights out of Dinky Ninjas and has a mixed martial arts record of 5 contests, 4 wins and 1 loss. Let's hear it for Doni, the Dragon Miller. This featherweight contest is fought over 3 5-minute rounds.
Professional featherweight action up next at Fight UK 10. Karsten Lenjoint in the white trunks, taking on Doni Miller in the black Hayabusa trunks. I'm David Leatherby, alongside me Ben Cartledge. Ben, Doni Miller, a guy that we don't really know a lot about, but when you look down his record, he's an experienced guy. It's gone back some years. Lenjoint, of course, a name we're very familiar with, been in some absolute wars at Fight UK.
Definitely, both of these guys, no stranger to a tough fight. And Miller snapping in that kick. Miller, you say a solid pro with a good record, 4-1, but been out of the cage, I believe it's for in the neighborhood of over a year. I think it is at least 2 years, somewhere like that. So we've got to see if ring rust is going to be an issue really against somebody as seasoned as Karsten Lenjoint. And straight away it's Karsten looking for the takedown. I like the way that he tried to pick that ankle through, but credit to Miller, got back up to his feet.
Yeah, Miller working over at the Dinky Ninjas, obviously one of the best, if not the best gyms for the lower weights in the country. Certainly up there, some fantastic practitioners up there. coaches like James Doolan and Paul McVeigh, but finds his way onto his back now. And Karsten Lenjoint at featherweight, Ben, he's a very tough customer, and his losses have only come to the very best, the likes of Dino Gambetesa, Nad Narimani, and you know, more often than not, he's in a war, Karsten. He's an extremely tough guy to get out of there. Suffers a bit from confidence, I think, Ben. I mean, I've heard him refer to himself, you know, lightly in forums and on the internet, and he, you know, at one point he was a very legit unbeaten prospect, and it wouldn't take too much for him to turn his career around, Ben. I don't think the tools are definitely there. He's a tough guy.
Very much so, and like you say, ultimate fighter veteran. I think a lot of people forget. Exactly,
yeah.
For like you say, at the highest level, and certainly, I mean, with Karsten, for me, as I think you touched on there, the key is execution, because the skills are there. The toolkit is there. He's got the abilities, and like you say, who knows, with a career-defining performance, a big performance tonight, it really could kickstart a bit of a renaissance.
Yeah, certainly. Donnie Miller playing a high guard now. Interestingly, both these guys share a similar opponent in Dean Riley. Karsten Lenjoint, TKO, and Riley back at Fight UK 3. Donnie Miller looking for the triangle now, Ben.
Karsten needing to posture up. He's got the hand position there, prizes the hands through. And Karsten experimented with fighting at a bantam, but he did say that although he made the weight, he felt like he found the cut quite troublesome in it. And like I say, as we see here in this top position, he's a big and physically imposing featherweight. And so without the extra drain of getting that... And of course, when we look at the lightweight guys, people say there's not a lot of weight between the categories, but it's percentage-wise. You talk about a guy who weighs 145 pounds to cut another 10 pounds, you're talking a much higher percentage than fighters who move from the bigger weights, the heavyweights, the light heavyweights. So it can make a massive difference. And we're seeing that with Karsten now, because here at featherweight, he seems comfortable, and he's putting in a dominating first round, and that's a big elbow.
Yeah, certainly, Ben. I mean, you see it at all levels of the game. I mean, you only have to go up to the UFC, and, you know, the amount of calls that were for Frankie Edgar to drop down a weight class. And although he's obviously competitive at the top of the lower weight division, you know, he doesn't look any better for me in any ways. You know, he was competitive at the higher weight division. It's not always the answer dropping down, because obviously, you know, you're losing certain attributes while you're gaining them. Although you might be stronger, you might give up a bit of speed. And I think featherweight is definitely the correct tone for Lenjoint. And now he's looking very strong in top position now.
And what I like he's doing quite nicely is he is not giving his man any room to breathe whatsoever. It's a nice variety of strikes, and they're coming from a lot of different angles. We're seeing him drop the elbows, we're seeing him throw hammer fists and punches. All at the same time, he's got to be mindful of the submission threat, because as we've seen it earlier in this round and throughout his career, I mean, Dave, Miller is no slouch. But as we say that, Karsten looking for a submission of his own with a really nifty looking back take.
Yeah, fantastic ground control shown by Lenjoint, and Donnie Miller just seems to be struggling with the pressure at the moment, Ben.
Karsten looking to ride through. Miller doing well, but it's the spaces in between, and so many fighters will talk to you about that, Dave. They'll say that the key thing is not about the wrestling or the grappling or any element of it. It's the transitions, it's the parts in between, and that's what impresses me about Karsten. There isn't a space, there isn't a split second where something isn't happening that he's engineering, and we see that with the top level guys.
Yeah, that's it. It's often the times between the positions, the little scrambles and the little transitions where you can get your best work done. And credit to Karsten Lenjoint, is definitely going into that one round up, I think, now in this fight. And, you know, Karsten's coming off 3 losses in a row, but he's extremely, extremely dangerous, you know. So, as you say, credit to Miller for stepping up, because there's easier fighters out there with better records than Karsten Lenjoint. I think his record certainly doesn't tell the full story of his skill set.
Donnie Miller in the black shorts. Karsten Lenjoint with a beard to be feared in the white short trunks.
Lovely left hand from Miller coming out of that southpaw stance. He's definitely looking to keep this on the feet. I think Miller, he's got some nice hooks landing now. If Miller's gonna win this fight, I think it's in this range, Ben.
Karsten, for me, Dave, looks a lot more sizable at this weight as well.
Miller looking to counterpunch now, I think. Just waiting for Karsten to pull that trigger and maybe counter with that lead right. Good work from Lenjoint, rushing forwards.
Karsten, a very, very tough guy, as we've seen a lot of times here at Fight UK. He's put in tough performances, arguably been winning a lot of fights that he's ended up losing. It's just, as you say, Dave, you wonder as well, you talked earlier about his confidence and the almost self-depreciating view he's got of himself. You see him kind of joking at himself on the internet. Not just the record and the momentum, but seriously, what would a win do for his confidence here? Oh, and that is a big suplex, Rustam Habilov style, belly to belly.
Beautiful suplex, and you mentioned it in the first round, Ben. It's the transitions and the scrambles where Lenjoint is doing so well, and he didn't rest and admire his work. Then he looked to immediately take the back, and now he's gone palm to palm with that choke. Only a single hook in.
And that's all coming from that absolutely
Goes
massive,
to the body triangle, excuse me.
absolutely massive suplex, and he came straight on, like you're saying. He's got that choke locked in.
Miller 2-on-1, just trying to peel that top hand off. Karsten can get that hand free, might look to go palm to palm or just rain down some shots.
Well, he's got the body triangle in position. This is a very dangerous position as well. If he can flatten his man out, we've seen several fighters submitted from the body triangle position. A lot of pressure you can put down on the spine through that.
Yeah, Karsten definitely found, excuse me, Ben, the sweet spot in this fight is definitely the groundwork for him. Fantastic suplex. How often do you see that?
I'd say really extending back with that body triangle. As I was saying, like I say, a submission in its own right. A lot of fighters using that not only to dictate the position, but to get wins. Probably most famously, Ivan Salivary against Tony Frickland.
Corner of Lenjoint saying that he's scoring, keep scoring. And he certainly is, catching the eye of the judges. Good positional control and staying busy with sporadic ground and pound in between. Been a good round thus far, good fight thus far for Lenjoint. Miller, you have to say, great survival skills, Ben, because the choke did look under the chin, but did well, got that 2-on-1, just peeled the hand off, and he's done well not to take any real damage thus far in this position.
And when I interviewed current Fight UK bantamweight champion Dino Gambardella about his win over Karsten, he described Karsten as having a bullying style, and the best thing that he had to do was meet him in the middle and kind of try and fight him, meet him head on, because he did feel like he could have been overwhelmed. And to be fair to Miller, that's exactly the style that Lenjoint is experiencing. It is putting on his man. It is a bullying top game. It's a crushing style, and Miller's doing really, really well to still maintain the offense here.
Yeah, beautiful little up kick there. Took Karsten by surprise, I think, from Doni Miller. But Miller really struggling now, and the high guard that he was using in the first round is obviously going to be way more difficult to pull off now. Both guys are a lot more sweaty and fatigue comes into it. Nice little elbows there from Lenjoint.
We see it so many times. They have a really short span of motion, but very, very kinetic. He comes forward and slams those elbows in. A lot of times we see, Dave, the shorter elbows often generate more impact. The fighters who swing in with the bigger elbows, they're a lot harder to hit because the fighter can kind of see them coming. Those short, palm down, push off elbows that Jeremy Orn originally, I believe, made famous back in the early days of mixed martial arts. Another one over the top, and to be fair, we talked about those elbows. Those are the ones that cut, those slicing ones. It's never the traumatic ones that hit straight on. It's the ones that arc across that you've got to be careful of. And to be fair, Miller throwing some nice elbows himself from the bottom.
Smacks a little of desperation for me, Ben. Miller, he was working a lot of guard game, looking for the arm triangle from the bottom. Be surprised if he's able to pull that off, but shows he's still working. Doni Miller's got to know now, Ben, that he has to try and avoid the ground exchanges with Lenjoint, because the local fighter is all over him when it hits the deck.
As we get back onto this, the third round in this featherweight contest between Karsten Lenjoint and Doni Miller. Referee Mark Woodard getting us underway. And it's been all Karsten, really. in these first 2 rounds. Miller had his moments, but the majority of the time the control exhibited, and that's a nice short clipping shot from Miller.
Yeah, he's got great hands, Miller. He just hasn't really been able to use them as much as he wants to. But this is the danger zone for Karsten at this range, because Miller's got some crisp boxing.
Straight in for that double, shoots in and
Goes for the
jumps the guillotine.
Hard to see from our vantage point how close it is, Ben.
A tough submission to hit late on. But one thing we'll see from Karsten is that he's that fighter spirit we've seen, but he's breathing very heavily. That looks tight from our position.
Wow, this would be a real turn up for the books, and he's
that's a
got
tap.
it! Wow! Doni Miller, the Hail Mary guillotine submission. Fantastic. I think Lenjoint went out cold there. He'll be extremely disappointed after a fantastic 2 rounds. But Doni Miller, you have to say, Ben, I mentioned the hands was the way he'd win this, but then he just pulls the submission out of nowhere. Fantastic win for the Dinky Ninjas fighter.
That's a round of applause for both warriors. Come on. Okay, both fighters to the center, please. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, after 52 seconds of round number 3, your winner due to a tap out by guillotine choke from the red corner, Doni the Dragon Miller. But let's hear it for a very gallant runner-up. Let's hear it for Karsten Lenjoint.
Okay, here with your winner, Doni Miller. Doni, what a performance after 2 really hard rounds. You came in there and got that submission. Did you think from the start that you might be able to pull that guillotine off?
To be honest, that's one of my best moves when I'm training. All credit to Karsten. He completely beat me. Kicked my arse for 2.5 rounds. Lucky that's my go-to move. He fell into it. Credit to Karsten. I took the fight in 4.5, 5 weeks' notice. And I wasn't as fit as I should be, but that's no excuse. Karsten completely kicked my arse. And I pulled off a submission, so I'm happy to win against a seasoned veteran.
So obviously, as well, we talk about the time you've had away from the cage. Did that factor into this performance? Did you feel a little ring rust in there, or how did you feel once the fight got started?
I think it played a big part. I've had injuries and family issues and stuff like that. I basically came in with a bit of rust. But thanks to training with the best team in the UK, the Dinky Ninjas, I managed to pull off a submission while I was losing the battle.
Fantastic. And finally, is there anybody you'd like to thank? Any shout-outs you'd like to give on this? A really great performance and victory here at Fight UK.
Firstly, I'd like to thank Dan Hope. Dan was the boy that volunteered to come comment me. A lot of the team were busy. He helped me rehydrate. All my team, the Dinky Ninjas, Paul, Robert, Hissy, Kieran, everybody, my family for coming, my mum and her partner. So it's brilliant to fight against Karsten in his home city in Leicester. Brilliant.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for your winner, Doni Miller.
The Dragon's back.
Once again, your winner, Doni Miller.